Nation.
Thank you, sir, and good evening, viewers.
Let me begin by congratulating you, first of all, on your recent election. Obviously, a show of confidence amongst your colleagues and peers.
Thank you, sir. While I take the congratulations, I want to extend the same to the people that aspired for the same position, that this brought about how democratic the Zambia we want is. There were 5 of us, and we had to have 2 sets of elections. The first one, no one got 50% plus 1. So there was a rerun between me and the other top leader. And from there, I emerged the winner. So I want to thank them. But I also want to thank the ordinary membership that they came in numbers to come and participate in the elections. That made it very authentic. Than maybe it should have been. Thank you.
Right. Now, obviously, as you know, we are discussing Zambia ahead of the 2026 elections, and really for us to unpack in the next 1 hour, we will touch on a number of themes. Let me perhaps begin from requesting you to comment on the recently, appointed technical committee to consult the citizens on the constitutional making process. They were sworn in. There are about 25 in number, even though we understand certain stakeholders may have sought the courts to perhaps stall the process, but as we understand, and it's in the public domain, this has gone ahead in terms of appointing and swearing them in. I'd like us to start from there, from Zambia We Want perspective. What are your reflections around the constitutional making process as things stand today?
Yeah, the position of the Zambia We Want is first and foremost, we are not agreeing that Bill 7 is very important, or that's what the Zambian people want. We believe, like ourselves, that the Zambian people are against this Bill 7, and if this was a listening government, they would have heard the Zambian people. But this is not a listening government, so they've gone ahead and appointed the technical committee, and I want to make this clear, that this is how we waste money. We keep on saying we have no money, and the Zambian people can see through this, that is not true. If they can come up with this expensive technical committee, there is no reason where Zambia should say, the government should say, there is no money. That's not true. This technical committee, I don't know, I haven't seen the terms of reference, and I don't think they have published their terms of reference. I don't know how they selected the people. I really don't know. It would have been good if they had gone to communities, for example, the church, the trade unions. Let these people put up the people they think should represent them, not government picking as it happened. It's a very bad way of doing it. But what is even worse is that this technical committee is not necessary. This Bill 7 is not what we need to do now. This Bill 7 should have come maybe in January. What I mean, in January 2021 or 2022, at least when the government got into office. That's when they should have brought in this Bill 7 or whatever they want to do. This time is not the right time. So everything is wrong about this. The technical committee is wrong by the way it's been appointed, and when it's being appointed, so is this push for Bill 7. It's wrong. The Zambian people, that's not what they are looking for. They are looking for other issues. For example, end to road shedding. That's what the Zambian people want. For example, end to hunger. That's what the Zambian people want. For example, good education. That's what the Zambian people want. Those are the things and many more that the government would have been seen to be pushing, even in their last days. The Zambian people would have said, yes, this is the government we want.
I mean, it's very interesting you're saying this is not what the Zambian people want. But why do you think the government is so fixated on pushing this agenda, even after the Constitutional Court rude, that the process was flawed, and therefore, of course, they have said we are going to follow what the recommendation of the court is. But then, looking at the time, as you are putting it, is there any specific, from where you stand? I mean, you've been a cabinet minister before, you've been in parliament for 2 decades, I'm made to understand. Could there be anything that should really push the government so, should feel so convicted that this is a necessity and it must be done before the elections? We are very few months before an election, and yet this process could be a long and tedious one.
Yeah, thank you. Somebody is being lied to. Somebody is being lied to, is being told, without this Bill 7 you are losing. But I want to make it clear. With the Bill 7 or without the Bill 7, the government is losing. The political party in power is losing. But somebody is being lied to. Is being told, if you put this Bill 7 in place, you are going to win the elections. Well, the fight is not against you having this Bill 7. The fight is against what you haven't done. And this is why this Bill 7 is so important, because there's nothing to talk about what has been done by this government. There's nothing. There's nothing people can point to. So here the solution is to put in this Bill 7 that in commas will guarantee winning the elections. So somebody is not being told the truth. And because of that kind of information to this person, it's been so important that no matter what people say, including the courts, everyone is wrong about it. This Bill 7 must go through.
Are you being sincere, Honorable Simbao, when you say there is nothing they have done, when they will tell you they have increased CDF to 36.1, now it is 40 million. They will point at some classrooms and ambulances and things like that. But why would you say they haven't done anything?
Yes, it's a good point. When you say that, what new thing has CDF done? Because even the 1,600,000 being given before, we're building schools, and very cheap in the terms of the cost, because we had this community participation. The community would break stones, they would make bricks, and you would build a very good school for 180,000. You would build an excellent school. So there's nothing new that the CDF is doing. Maybe it's just the numbers, but believe me, most of these projects are poorly done, because now the community participation is not there. In that time, when the community used to mold bricks and break stones and correct sand, they were very concerned with how whoever you point as a contractor is doing it. Now they have been taken out. It's just the money working. And you find that most of these projects are crumbling, even before maybe a year or two. So the increasing of CDF from 1,600,000 to 40 million now has not changed anything. And believe me, you go into these constituencies and go and see where 30 million has been spent, and ask the people there, where was the 1,600,000 spent in those days? And you see that there's no difference. You'll be amazed. And you say, where is the 30 million gone? Or this time they have taken it to 40 million. Where is it? Believe me, first of all, that we don't have capacity right now in many constituencies to utilize this amount of money. We don't have that capacity.
The money is too much?
The money is too much. We don't have the capacity in these councils to absorb this money. We don't have it. And what is the government doing? They are playing a very bad game. That at the end of the year, they will say, oh, this money has been taken back because you couldn't use it. So there are only maybe a few, maybe 10% of the constituencies where particular MPs or ministers are able to consume this money. The rest can't. So, you know, we're talking about something that is not practical. If I had been them, because, okay, they're also trying to run away from BREM. You know, they are failing to do work in these areas, districts and whatever, because they are pointing to CDF, that we have given you CDF. So now we as government will stand back. So they are trying to run away from BREM, and they know things are not working. So again, the losers are the people. They are the losers. The government will say, we gave you CDF, you failed to utilize it. So what else do you want us to do?
So it's failure of being, you know, able to take up responsibility. Is that what you are implying, that they are not taking responsibility of bringing development? The central government, yes. That is.
Yes. You know what has happened is very sad. You know, generally, our districts are very poor in almost everything. And this is not the time that government can stand away from this. And let me tell you this, I don't have the figures, but maybe the percentages. When they say 40 million, it's not all of it that goes to work as people think. Some of this percentage is given to education. The MP has no hand on that. It's given to community like that. In the old days when they had 30 million, only 16 million was in the hands of the MP to do the projects. The rest of this 14 million was given to other places where the MP had nothing to do with it. So people think that, oh, this money is given to the MP. But even that 16 million, the MPs were failing to utilize it. And it wasn't coming on time. And in some cases we have heard the MP has not even received it. So yes, you can see it splashed in the papers, but what they hear and read is not what is happening.
Right. Let me take you back. Earlier you raised the concern about budgeting and funding of very expensive constitutional amendment process. We are receiving information from farmers that food reserve agents, at the onset of the new rain season, farmers haven't been paid. How do we reconcile this from a leadership point of view? That farmers who have already supplied maize to the government through FRA haven't been paid. You now have an expanded constitutional making process committee installed, and money will be given to them. From a leadership point of view, and as the Zambia we want, how do you hope to correct some of these anomalies?
Yes. You know, I'll tell you this, you've touched on a very good point, agriculture. And let me tell you, first of all, to answer you straight, I've heard and I've been called. In fact, in some instances, the farmers have said, give us back the maize, let us sell it to whatever ourselves, because we spent 2 months waiting just to maybe give you the maize we had, and after 2 months staying at the cooperative or wherever the shed is, you tell us you give us money and it doesn't come, and we're still waiting. And some places are saying, please give us back the money, the maize, we sell it. Now, that's very bad. And I don't know if government is hearing this. I don't know. Because there's this thing where you think the government has been told, but they haven't been told. People are scared. Those people that handle this thing, they are scared to tell the government the truth. And yet they know they have not been given the money to give the farmers. And everything just remains in between here. The government thinks that, okay, things are well. These people know things are not well, and the people are complaining, and they are not getting it. For Zambia, we want, first and foremost, there are 2 very important professions that we shall look at. One is the teaching profession. 1. 2 is the farming, the farmers. Now, for the farmers, we have been playing around with things. This country is not supposed to be celebrating harvesting 3 million metric tons of maize. You know, we're being laughed at everywhere. You know, in this country, we've got 40 million hectares arable land, and we're only using 1.5 million hectares of arable land. 1.5. And from that 1.5, we get 3 million metric tons of maize like this year. And we want to celebrate. It's a shame. It's a big, big shame. Now, how have others done it? If you look at the way South Korea turned around the agriculture, it was very novel. Something people might say, no, but it's not possible. It is, and I'm going to explain it to you. The government ensured they bought all the produce from the farmers. All the produce, and at good time, because one, they had the law in place that everyone, it doesn't matter who it is, farmer or not, they must have a bank account. That's the law they had. So all the money used to go to the local bank account, local bank, okay? They would buy the maize, the rice or whatever from the farmers at say 400 kwacha in Zambia, but sell it to the millers at 200 kwacha. They absorbed the loss. Why? Because they wanted to equate the rural people to the town people. They knew that if I buy a bag of maize at 400 and I sell it to the mill at 400, the mill will cost 500. There's no question about that, because the miller will take in all these costs that he has incurred. So they sold it at a much lower price so that in the shops, that meal is affordable by these town people who earn little money, like 2,000 kwacha, for example. You can't be selling meal at 260 or 300 and somebody earns 2,000 kwacha and he has a family and all that. By the way, that's already too little, because the food market by the JCTR, the food basket is 10,000. So these people that are earning 2,000, which is the average or the common salary of people, you know, the drivers, the nurses, whatever. You know, there's nothing that they can buy with that thing. Then you as a government, you allow your bag of meal to cost at 300 kwacha. Or at one time it went, by the way, even after harvesting 3 million metric tons of maize, the price has not changed. Why? It's because of the cost of maize. It's not because of the harvest. You can harvest 6 million metric of tons. If you are buying at 500 and you are not cushioning it like I've explained, the bag of meal will always be very expensive.
From your perspective as...
Yeah, but let me come to this. Right. Then you appoint a technical committee.
Yeah.
For what? You're not hearing that people are saying, please, we're staying hungry, we can't afford the bag of meal. By the way, even Rora meal, I went in to Pick and Pay, it's around 200 kwacha. I couldn't believe it. Rora meal. There's basically very little difference between breakfast and Rora meal. Then you go and appoint a technical committee. What are you doing? What's your problem? Look, we've only got 10 months to go to elections. You can't wait? Surely? People are not asking for that BO7. No one is.
What's in the secret? What's the secret in the BO7?
And that's a point. You know, okay, I'll tell you. But that's a point. You know, they keep on saying it's a good bill, it's whatever. But it's just that people can't read the details in that BO7. But the biggest point is this. The increase in the number of MPs and this business of giving power to the president to choose, I don't know how many MPs that is, just to make sure that whatever he wants to do, already it has gone through by these people that he has picked, which is a big, big number of people. And that's what is very important, believing that they win elections again. Now, this is dangerous. This can lead to a one-party state if the Zambians are not careful. This is very, very dangerous. They should not accept this kind of conditionalities. It's dangerous. And we see a desperate person, I think, who does not see himself getting out of that office for whatever reason. Doesn't see himself like that, which is very, very desperate. And that's why he's pushing all these things. So the devil is in the details, which you can't read. You have to read through it.
You have to research. Now, you've said 10 months to an election. And your party is aptly put the Zambia we want. What do you think are some of the factors that are going to inform the choice of a party and leader come next year? I mean, the Zambia we want. What's in the mind of a Zambian? What kind of a leadership, a government are they looking for? Or a country, for that matter, that they are looking for? That would inform their choice in the next 10 months.
Okay. First of all, that's not a very difficult question. In the sense that already the Zambian people, maybe 70% or so, they've already made up their mind. They know who they don't want. They know this government must go. They know that. What they probably are not really decided on.
What percentage was that?
About 70%. In fact, in some circles, people tell me that 50% is already on the opposition side. 50%. So if 50% is already on the opposition side, they only need one person to win the elections. That's what some people have been telling me. So I'm putting it at 70%. They already know who they don't want. And why? Well, people brought it upon themselves. They built up so much hope and just collapsed. And people have gone through terrible situations and looked like the people in charge were not seeing it. So they've already made up their mind. It's just who should replace them. That's where the problem is. And maybe that's where you see a lot of people are coming up and saying, look, I am the person that you should look forward to. And maybe parties like ours. Now, why the Zambia we want? First of all, people must understand one thing. That a man like me, who is the president of the Zambia we want, I'm not the most authoritative person in my party. My party, the head is the chairperson. In this case, we have a woman, Dr. Ponga. That's the head of that party, the Zambia we want. Me, I'm just about maybe third or fourth in the hierarchy.
And yet you are the president.
And yet I'm the president. My role is as a flag bearer and just to contest national elections. That's my role. But in as far as running the party is concerned, it's a chairperson. Now, what does that do? You can see that there's a balance here. If, say, I became a national president, I still don't have that power to do what I would want to do, because there's the chairperson who is the leader of the party.
Well, that's at your party level.
Yes.
That's not national
Yes,
level.
The
dynamics change completely.
Correct. I'm coming to that. So what are we saying as the Zambia we want? As the Zambia we want, first of all, we are people of like minds. All of us believe that the time of messiahs is gone. All of us believe that. All of us who stood for president, 5 of us, all of us had the message, the time of messiahship is gone. And we want to carry that into the national constitution. It's time the president was able to listen to people. Not when you get into the president, you grow a long neck, no one can talk to you. Or you grow a very short neck, you can't turn around to see what's happening. We want to eliminate that. You're just a human being. I'm just a Simbao. So why does the position change who I am? It shouldn't. Now, to be assisted is to be positioned in a situation where you even know that I can't do this because I'll be disciplined. It doesn't matter because you're a president that then you can't be disciplined. So that is our situation as the Zambia we want. And we believe that when we get into office, That's how we shall transform the presidency.
You are the party that is promising to cut the excess power of a president. Is that what you're
That's
promising?
what we are saying. And look, if what we are saying was able with this government, I think we would become different. Would be of no use. Because we want a president who is going to empty his own pond. At least halfway. Must empty his own pond. Now, why is this important? This is important for the future, not for that particular person. That particular person will leave office whether he likes it or not. It might be after 5 years or 10 years, but he will leave office. So it's not for him or her. It's supposed to be for the future. And this is the best way to move. You'll find that all governments that have embraced proportional representation, all of them do very well. Because the president is always under check. Always. South Africa, Botswana. All these, their presidents are under check. And they do very well. Not this system we have here. Because this system puts the person right on the apex. And everyone is down there. So we want to change this for the future, not for ourselves.
I'd like you to take a bit of a moment and just educate the Zambian people how you intend to strip off the excess power from the president. As you are saying, right now, any president, be it Hakainde Hichilema or anyone who might come, if the constitution remains as it is and the fundamentals around electing a president and the power embedded in the constitution remains as the status quo, we will still have this problem you're complaining about.
Correct.
So, I mean, you are proposing something that is a little bit unique to what the Zambian people are aware of, are used to. Could you just shed a bit more light how you hope to achieve that?
Okay. I want to explain to the Zambian people that the system we have is in the ego of the person is first of all inbuilt into the presidency. When the person gets into that position, he finds that there is ego inbuilt in that position. And somehow he fails to detach himself from that. And beginning to think he's the best person. He's number one in Zambia, he's everything. When he's not, that's one. Now, what makes it like that? First of all, it's a system we have, first past the post. And I'm coming to the separation of powers quickly. First of all, it's a system we have, first past the post. That first past the post, which a president gets, gives him all the power that all the Zambians voted.
I think first past the post is at the moment only applicable to MPs and councillors, because the presidential now is the 50+1. We used to have the first past the post, which is even minority president, as long as you have a slender lead. But in the current state, you cannot be president without assuming that 50+1.
Yeah, but listen, it doesn't matter whether it's 50% plus 1 or simple majority like in the past, it's still first past the post. Because a party selects a person to lead them as a president. They present a president to the people. For example, myself. They present me as Simbao is the one that will win elections, like in the next coming elections. Everyone that is going to stand, they are going to stand as individuals with their running mates. But they are going to stand as, not as parties. So I'm going to campaign for myself as president. I'm not going to campaign for Zambia we want. Everyone, it will be their problem. An MP will campaign as that person on the Zambia we want ticket. I will campaign as president on the Zambia we want ticket. So they are going to vote for me as an individual. Everyone that votes, they are going to mark on my name as president. In the proportional, there's no names, there's just a party.
Right.
There are no names and faces and whatever. It's just a party. So the people are going to vote for the party. Just Zambia we want, that's all. Meaning, me, that may be supposed to be the president, is hidden. They are going to get me out after the Zambia we want has garnered the biggest
majority
vote.
lead, yes.
Yes. That's when they are going to bring me out and say, yes,
this will be our president.
This is going to be our president. But it's not automatic. They will take you to parliament. Now, the chances are that in parliament you have the majority. So you pass through because you have a majority. But the chances are also that some of your people might not be agreed with you. So they won't give you that opportunity. They will say no. But then the winning party can present another person. After the third person, whether they say no or yes, you go through. Okay? But the power lies in the parliament to now say this will be the president. That's where the power lies. And because of that power, this president is at the mercy of parliament. If he does not perform, parliament will recall that person, so that the winning party will present another person to them.
And that's what you would like to introduce?
That's what we would love, and we must introduce. We must move away from this thing that doesn't work for us. Now, listen, it works in Britain, we know. It works in Singapore, we know. But the reason is they have different values. They don't have selfish individuals. They go there to serve, not to get money and win or become rich. They go there just purely for service.
Here no one resigns. There, even if it's an accusation on your moral standing, you resign.
Yes, yes. Anything that is heard about you, you yourself tender in your resignation. You won't even be asked. But those values, we don't have them here.
But that's the Zambia we want.
Yes, of course. We would love if it were possible. People that would be of good moral standing and integrity, so that we know, like, look, you're putting me in office. If I don't perform, I must quit. If I'm accused of anything, whether true or not, I must quit. I shouldn't be waiting there to say, bring evidence like it's been happening. It doesn't work that way. Now, why is this system good? There are many things. One, no by-elections for anyone. If an MP dies, the party that won just presents another MP. There's no by-elections. President dies, the party just presents another person. But that would be the end of by-elections. And by the way,
I don't want to cut you, but I want you to hold that thought. Because in a way, that is what the UPND is trying to dangle as a carrot, that they will not be having MPs going through by-elections. They will just pick another person, recall the other one, or whoever has died, they replace with someone else they've chosen. In your approach, it's a holistic one, including the president, not just cherry-picking on the MP-ship. No. I thought you should also comment on that.
Yes, no. You see what these people are saying? They want a mixed system. They want first past the post and proportional representation. That is being selfish. It doesn't work that way. Nowhere does it work that way. You either have this system or you have this system, period. But these people want to marry these two, and that's where they want to lie, let me use that word, to people that, hey, look, this is the only way we can bring in women, this is the only way we can... No. Doesn't work that way. So, the only thing I want to say is this. If you go for, by the way, in Britain, you know they put a ceiling on how much money you can spend as a party. So no one goes beyond that. If we say 2 million kwacha, for example, everyone will raise their 2 million kwacha, and that's what they will spend. In this country, there isn't anything like that. You as a opposition like us who have no money, maybe we might manage $1 million. The ruling party will be spending 40, 60 million.
They probably have raised already $50 million.
Yes.
It's a waiting for the campaign.
Yes, that is very, very unfair. That's why you can't compare to Britain or other places. This proportional representation actually stops the use of money maybe by 60% or 70%, because it's a party that is supposed to be, not an individual. At the moment, if I don't have money, I should forget about stuff.
Is this the one strong selling proposition of the Zambia we want? One of the reasons Zambians must vote for you? Is it your anchor message that you need to change the system?
Yes, we need to change the system, but the biggest anchor message is that we are coming to listen. We want people to tell us that we want jobs. Okay? We know that this government knows that people want jobs, but they haven't taken it seriously, because Maybe they haven't been told that, look, we don't want the technical committee, we want jobs. That's what you should give us, not your technical committee. We want to be that government that wants to do what the Zambians want. And even jobs. Believe me, we know how to make the jobs that the Zambians, if that's what they want. They will say, we don't want load shedding. That's what the Zambians want. They don't want load shedding. We as a government must apply ourselves to stop load shedding. And things like that. Not giving them what they don't want. So that's our major message.
Right.
All these other things will just come in now. Once we do the proportional representation, it will be very easy to separate the three arms of government. Because the president and the executive won't have that power. They can easily be removed if they don't want to listen. So we shall say, Parliament, no ministers. Ministers will come out of Parliament, outside Parliament. No ministers. And that will automatically make Parliament independent. The judiciary, we shall make sure that we strengthen the institutions where the judiciary is based, and there are many. And that will make the judiciary independent. There should be no way a president, and by the way, with the proportional representation, the president won't even have power to threaten Parliament. First of all, he's under that. They're the ones who have ratified him. So he won't even have any power to threaten the Speaker. He won't have power to threaten the Justice, Chief Justice. So all these.
In reverse, what do you think is happening currently?
Yes, in reverse, the executive is lord of all these. I mean, they're not there. Look at this. That's why they call Parliament a rubber stamp. Because already the president has a big chunk of people who can never say no to him. And the others who are not ministers, they are looking, maybe if I behave well, the president will make me a minister. They don't accept that these positions are taken up. So they will speak good, they will speak nice for things they didn't even know is not true, but just to look for that job that they can be made a minister. But if you remove that from there, these people will speak freely and put down their thinking, knowing that what I'm doing is what people sent me here for.
Let's, are you done on this? I would like us to move on to the next point.
All right.
I mean, looking at, I'm really focusing on the fact that we're looking at Zambia ahead of the 2026 elections, and at the back of my mind, I've got 10 months, you know, within which the Zambian people should be able to decide. And the biggest contributor to this conversation is how prepared are we from an electoral point of view. The Electoral Commission just launched mass voter registration. Stakeholders have already flagged some concerns of lack of preparedness, some of the registration kit not working, the roadmap in terms of who will be deployed where, the deployment plan not being available, and 2-3 days in that process, already we have heard stakeholders saying ECZ must consider extending the registration period. Do you think in the state we are at and the concerns that have been raised by stakeholders, ECZ is in a place to meet its target of 3.5 million new voters?
To answer that question, the last one, the answer is no. First of all, they might, but looking at the turnout right now at polling stations, the people are not going there.
At registration centers?
At registration centers, the people are not going there.
Why?
Well, I think they haven't prepared the people enough. Not even me.
There's no awareness.
Not even me. I knew. I only learned when they started.
There's no awareness.
No.
Maybe
they would have started this maybe way back in July.
Maybe money has gone to the technical committee instead of to sensitization. I mean, we're a media house. We're not running any voter registration messages.
No.
So people are not aware.
Yes. I mean, like I'm saying, even me. But even those registration centers, they're not ready. For example, they have no shredders. You know, when you take your oath, because you're changing the station where you're going to vote, they're giving you a new card. They take back your card. They're not shredding them. They say we will shred them at the headquarters. That is dangerous. Very dangerous. People are suspicious that these people want to use these cards to get more votes. And it's possible. Because all they need to do is just give them to people they know, and those people might vote twice. Now, maybe that is far-fetched, but the truth is, the perception is very bad. Somebody put his cards, the old one and the new one, and they have different information, you know, for the same names and whatever, different information. And this person is asking, now, which one is the true one? Because I'm the same person. So why are these things like this?
What information is different exactly? Is it the name?
Really, no.
Is it
the polling station, I don't know what they are doing. He hasn't explained much, but it's supposed to be the same polling station. But on this other one, they've only mentioned a bit of it that was on this other one. It's not the complete description of what was this other one. It's the same polling station.
We would need the clarity from ECZ on that. I haven't heard that complaint.
No, I have it on my phone. And the person was saying, now, which one is which? Because if I go with this new one, maybe because of the incompleteness of the address, they'll refuse. You know? So there are all these things that maybe the people at ECZ don't know is happening in the registration centers, and they must pay attention and you know, change it and you know. So basically 3 million, did you say 3.5?
3.5 million.
That's a tall order. For 1 month, that's a tall order. It won't happen.
Right.
Now, I hope they don't come back and say they did it, you know, which is likely.
The issue you're raising is very concerning, really, to the public, that there is no transparency, even on shredding what they are collecting as odd cards.
Yes.
You're claiming they're not shredding.
No. Somebody has sent me that message saying they got his card. He said, but where are you taking it? They say, we're taking it to the headquarters. But why? I want to see it shredded here. They say, well, we don't have the shredding machine, so we shall shred. And he went away very unhappy.
And there will be no one present to witness the shredding at head office. It says that you have a huge challenge to manage this perception that you are shrouded in secrecy, and you may be, you know, according to my guest here, you may be, you know, planning.
We don't know what can happen.
You know, something. So you need, as ECZ, you need to manage this public perception in the voter registration and exchange. And I think that's what you are submitting.
Correct.
Let's talk about load shedding. It is one of the major complaints of the last 4 years.
Yes.
We have 10 months on election, and it's now become a huge elephant in the election discourse. How would you hope to, as Zambia we want, to address this? Because it is perhaps beyond the UPND. It's a national issue. It's a disaster. How would you like to propose correction measures around load shedding?
Yeah, I'll start from a very hard point. I'll come to that, but I'll start from a very hard point. And the very hard point is this. Many of the people that come to Parliament are failures from where they are coming from.
They're failures in life?
From where they are coming from.
Okay.
And most of them, that's what made them think of Parliament.
Are you sure about that? You are a member of Parliament yourself.
Yeah.
What are you claiming?
At times when I reflected on that, I used to feel very bad. But you know, can you believe it? You have a professor in the house, and you have a maid, and I mean a maid, and they are brought to the same level. Can you believe that? The professor comes down to the level of the maid, and you can accept that?
What do you mean,
yes.
Honorable Simbao?
Yes. So the reasoning in Parliament is watered down completely. The professor won't speak because maybe thinks people won't understand me. The maid won't speak because she's scared she'll be laughed at. Maybe her English is not that well polished. So you find that everything is just watered down. People sit there and one or two people. Please follow government parliament deliberations. You always find it's the same people speaking. Same people speaking. Always, on either side. The others, there is one time when I was in parliament, this gentleman stayed for 5 years. He's dead now. He came from Nyimba. 5 years without saying a single word. 5 years. And he's not the only one. There are many others that are like that. So that's a situation. Now, the point I'm raising is from those people we pick ministers.
So you're questioning the caliber.
Now, it's from there we pick ministers. Now we have these vexing problems in the country. How do they resolve these things? We have 3,800 megawatts of installed capacity of power. Our peak demand is only 2,400 megawatts. How come with 3,800 megawatts we are failing to satisfy 2,400 megawatts? How? We're even supposed to have excess, 1,400 excess. But now we only generate about 1,000 megawatts. What has happened? The infrastructure is there. Everything is there. This is what they call low-hanging fruits. So this government decided not to pay that attention to that. They decided to pay attention to technical committees and the likes, you know, instead of pushing in money to refurbish that infrastructure, bring it back to operation status. Because that's what you need. Everything is there. And believe me, please, at times it's so shameful. We blame rains and all that. You know, we keep on boasting that we have 40% of water in southern province, southern Africa. You know, we keep on boasting like that, and we want to use rains as an excuse. It doesn't work. I saw the Minister of Information last time saying, look, it takes 3 months for rains to come from Kareni Hills to Kariba. And he's right. He's very right. But where he's not right is that in that area he's talking about, there is no shortage of rains. There's no shortage of rains in Northwestern Province. No shortage of rains where the Rwanginga River comes from. No shortage of rains in Luapula and Northern Province. But let's talk about Kariba. So if the rains come from Kareni Hills, where it's always raining, already it's raining now.
So where do you see as the major cause of the failure to end load shedding then?
Well, first of all, like I said, it's a question of not giving it a lot of importance. Where I believe the leadership just decide to accept what they have found. The infrastructure needs to be modernized. You know, people don't understand this. There is a lot of loss in substations. There is a lot of loss in the grid. There is a lot of loss in the distribution. There is a lot of loss. You need even these things, even though they are static all the time, you need to maintain them to make them optimum. And they're not doing that. That's one problem. The rains is just an excuse. How come we don't hear so much about the rains in Zimbabwe? We're using the same Kariba. How come we don't hear so much about the rains in Angola? So why is it only us? So that's where we have a problem. If only, let me finish this. Look, South Africa, right now they are boasting. They have installed 7 gigawatts of power, which is about 7,000 megawatts of power. Our installed capacity here is only 3,800 megawatts. They have installed recently.
Double that.
Double that. But from what? From solar. From solar, not from hydro and wherever else they've been getting. From solar. And they're saying we've done away with load shedding in South Africa.
Right.
Solar. Here we have the same sun. Maybe even more sun than South Africa. But, our approach to solar is so willy-wash.
We'll be running out of time. I need for us to wrap up. I can't believe it's already an hour. But I need to ask you, what are the prospects of the opposition forming government next year? From where you stand as Zambia We Want, and a myriad other parties that are jostling for the same spot that you're looking for. What are your prospects? Or perhaps you just divide the vote and spoil it for yourselves.
Yes, that is possible. But what's happening now is okay. Is okay in that for you to come together, you must gauge yourselves. And once you've gauged yourselves, you agree on who should be probably the front runner. There are people still who won't agree with that. And of course, they'll fall off. They'll get 0% or 0.1 like that. But all they want is to be seen on the ballot paper, which is very bad. As the Zambia We Want, clause 81 in our constitution, we believe in alliances. And I'll just read it so that people can be clear about this. We believe in alliances. And the second one is the most important. It says, in the event that the party enters into an alliance, the party may, through a decision of the National Leadership Council, resolve to support a presidential candidate or a running mate from another party, not from us, from another party to stand as president and vice president of Zambia. Meaning, we are ready to agree with others that if they have a better candidate than ourselves, we support them.
It's good that you've put it in your constitution.
Yes, it is in the constitution, so that no one amongst our members can argue against it. It's a question of how maybe we should support the president.
Right.
So we are hopeful that everyone must agree with this kind of thing. I watched a thing yesterday where somebody said I can't talk about alliances now, and maybe they're right. But I hope they don't think they are the only ones. I hope they can trust that everyone who has put themselves up, they are a candidate. They can be. Not, in another interview, I told somebody that, do you know this Bemba saying which says, Akosulile Kopanoko? So don't think other people are irrelevant. Don't. You'll be amazed. That's the people the Zambian people want, and you win. So I hope we can come to an understanding where, by the way, before I forget, it's important that all the parties grow strong. It's very important. And before we merge, it's important that all of us first grow strong. That's the only way you can come into a proper partnership.
Right.
If the other person is much stronger than you, that's not a partnership.
Your exit point as we wrap up this discussion, Honorable Simbao, President of the Zambia We Want. I'd like for you to comment on the latest revelations from the grieving family of the late President Lungu on the revelations that the government has appointed private investigators without consulting the family on allegations that perhaps President Lungu may have died out of poison. These are new revelations that are coming, and potentially from what we read and heard from the spokesperson, they seem to be jeopardizing the spirit of dialogue between the two parties. What are your comments as Zambia We Want, and in your individual capacity as Kapembwa Simbao?
Well, I can say that, first of all, I've not seen what you're talking about, first of all. I'm aware that President Lungu is still not buried, which is very, very sad. I always can just imagine it, and I wonder in what condition the body is. And always I imagine him in the mortuary, and it doesn't go well. However, these are issues which the family knows better than me, and issues that I don't know. The government also knows better. So really, at the moment, if I had to comment, I don't think it would be the proper comments. I think it would be driven by other things which could not be right.
Right.
Yes.
Your last words to the Zambian people?
Well, the Zambian people, here we are. The Zambia we want. We want you to talk to us when we get into office. We want us to draw a contract with you. We have it here, our manifesto. We want a social contract with you, so that if we don't perform, there's no need even to ask for your support. You tell us you are liars, here you are, and you didn't do it. So we want a social contract. For the first time, this must happen in Zambia. Somebody should not just come and say, vote for me. On what basis? You must have a social contract with that person. And we, as the Zambia we are ready for that. Because we know, if anything, we'll deliver for you. Thank you.
Honorable Kapembwa Simbao, President of the Zambia We Want. Thank you so much for coming to
Thank you, sir.
State of the Nation.
Thank you, sir.